We were a river losing its water. Then we were trees losing deep roots and a fire burning away. And before we lost heart, some took the new ways and changed them to ours. And their songs became our songs. We made them our own.
As we begin the journey of this service today, we acknowledge, as always, with mindful attention, that in all that we do to accomplish the mission of PSR in this location, we do so on the sacred and unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, the successors of the sovereign Vermont Band of Alameda County. We are ever grateful for their faithful stewardship of this holy ground, which continues to support all we seek to do in the name of justice, compassion, and building a world where all can thrive. And also, as we recognize both National Coming Out Day and Indigenous Peoples Day, we stand on the shoulders of many great souls who abide now beyond our physical sight, but always in our hearts and our spirits. And we seek with intention to invite their presence from the four directions of the east, south, west, and north. We invite you, as we turn in body, spirit, or mind, to remember and recall by name those ancestors who have embodied the elemental principles of each direction. This liturgy has been adapted from a meditation on the four directions by Unitarian Universalist Julia Hamilton.
We begin in the east, toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction or inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Please call by name those of your departed ancestors who have manifested breath, inspiration, and a desire for learning in your life journey.
We move around the wheel to the south. The element of the south is fire. Fire is a transformative force. It is a heat and light and powerful change. Please call by name those of your departed ancestors who have provided and called forth in you the flame of your own brilliance, passion, and the courage to change. Even when doing so may have set you apart in unfamiliar or uncomfortable ways.
Emerald O'Leary. Sylvester.
Continue around the circle. We arrive in the west. The element of the west is water. In the west, we were thrown into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Please call by name those of your departed ancestors who have led you to deep introspection and embrace of yourself in the full human spectrums of emotion, and your many splendors identity as coming home to yourself.
We move now to the north. The element of the north is earth. There is stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents a place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self. Please call by name those of your departed ancestors who provided grounding for you. Give you sanctuaries in which to heal and taught by example the power and wisdom of full embodiment as a celebration of your physical presence in the world.
As we remember you today, may we honor the paths you have paved for us,
and may our living add flesh to your bones and grant you peace.
Good morning and welcome again to this morning's chapel service here at Pacific School of Religion. We are happy that you are here with us. Today, as we said, we mark and honor Indigenous Peoples Day, officially celebrated on the 10th of October, yesterday, and National Coming Out Day, which is today, the 11th of October. Indigenous Peoples Day calls upon us to replace an official version of United States history that has glorified a legacy of violence against Indigenous peoples and communities. In the case of Christopher Columbus, he was a person who not only did not discover the Americas, He was also a person who led campaigns of violence and death dealing to countless numbers of peoples in this hemisphere. As Mandy Van Heuvelen, a member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe from South Dakota, and also cultural interpreter at the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian, has stated about Indigenous Peoples Day, and I quote, "It is difficult to grapple with the complete accomplishments of individuals and also the costs of what those accomplishments came at. There are no set rules on how one should appreciate this day. It's all about reflection, recognition, celebration, and an education. It can be a day of reflection about our history in the United States, the role Native people have played in it, the impacts that history has had on Native peoples and communities, and also a day to gain some understanding of the diversity of Indigenous peoples." And the question is, why are we celebrating these 2 days at this one service today?
So we feel that it is a privilege to live into what it means really to be intersectional, that many times we separate our liberation, our struggles for liberation. And we decided that today, not only because the dates are so close, but because in fact, these are not separate struggles. They're distinct, but they are not separate in terms of their goals. And we wanted to have the opportunity to live into that and to recognize some of our indigiqueer, that's the newest term I learned, those who are the indigiqueer here in the Bay Area and beyond, those who have come before and those who still exist, and we are grateful for that privilege as we honor that and National Coming Out Day.
And yes, today is also National Coming Out Day, which was first marked in 1988 on the first anniversary of the 11 October 1987, what was then called the March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights. This day is now an annual celebration that not only commemorates the long and ongoing history of LGBTQ plus liberation in the United States and around the world, but it is also a day to honor those who privately or publicly have come out of the closet to celebrate their gender identity, sexual orientations, and the almost infinite ways of being queer in our world today. Today here at Pacific School of Religion, we come together to join in observance of these 2 holidays, these 2 holy days. Today we commemorate, we honor, and we celebrate.
So it's time to sing. Please join. Please rise in body or spirit as you will. The music is inside your bulletins. To sing this song, We Are a Gentle Angry People, written by Holly Near. We have made one change to the 5th stanza. When she wrote this some time ago, she wrote it even in a binary way. We are gay and straight together. So we're going to change it up a little bit, and we'll sing the rhythm will be, we are LGBT plus to get. All right, yeah, we'll get that. We are gentle angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives.
singing for us. We are young and old together. We are singing for our lives. We are young and old together. We are singing for our lives. We are already called, and we are singing for our lives. We are land of many clouds, and we are singing for our lives. We are us together, and we are singing for our lives. We are connecting us together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives.
Barbara Cameron, a member of the Fort Yates, North Dakota. Barbara Cameron, a member of the Humpapa Lakota, part of Fort Yates Band of Standing Rock Nation in Fort Yates, North Dakota. She was a photographer, poet, writer, and a nationally recognized human rights activist in the field of gay women, women's rights, and Native American rights. She was co-founder of Gay American Indians. From 1980 to 1985, Cameron participated in organizing the Lesbian Gay Freedom Day Parade and celebration. Cameron's essay, No Apologies, A Lakota Lesbian's Perspective, was included in New Our Rights to Love, a lesbian resource book, 1996, which made an impact throughout Indian country. Barbara Cameron.
A reading for Barbara Cameron. We should celebrate the richness and the diversity of our gay culture. We should be verily displayed up here by having speakers who represent those precious diversity. We should celebrate the fact that gayness crosses all racial borders, and that the third world gays, while working for their people's liberation, work for gay freedom even though we experience racist and sometimes hostile attitudes from the white gay community. We should celebrate our gay artists, the musicians, poets, writers, photographers, painters, and dancers who bring us our artistic dreams. We should celebrate the anonymous gay people who work their dollar a dollar off for our freedom. Gay people are a many splendorous community, but we must be more sensitively evolved and stronger as a community. Our diversity is our strength, and our strength is the path to our freedom.
So the way that I had arrived to the Bates drum is that Phoenix and I were both poets at a reading, and I didn't understand what I was feeling. I just knew that I wanted to be at a drum. I ended up talking to her after the reading, and she told me that she had a two-spirit drum, and then she invited me. And ever since she invited me, I felt at home as soon as I got there, and I've been on the drum for a lot of years. I think it's been at least 6 years. It was really beautiful to find them through poetry and to be invited to sit on a drum and have the privilege of learning these songs. And even though they're not my lineage, I do feel that my ancestors brought me to the drum. So being indigiqueer, two-spirit, for me personally means that I'm reclaiming and remembering my ancestors and the practices that they held to keep themselves grounded and in balance. And I have literally sat in ceremony and could see like villages of my people. If we intentionally try to remember, we can. Our indigeneity is in our souls and in our genes. Being beyond resiliency is about returning to our indigenous ways. So we need to be doing that. So how do we create relationship with Mother Earth who holds us? Even though we're in an urban setting, it's important to understand that we are in communion with her. So my dream for our collective futures is that folks have access to those songs, that folks have access to ceremony. Being able to sit in ceremony is really fortifying, and it's really balancing. It reminds you that you have ancestors that did all this work for you to be where you are today.
Just a brief thank you to Bradley for creating this video that you will now watch. Happy Coming Out Day 2022. My name is Bernie Schlager. I use pronouns he and they, and I serve as Executive Director at the Center for LGBTQ and Gender Studies here at PSR. I also am a faculty member. Coming Out Day for me means a number of things, but first and foremost, that coming out is a joyful experience that includes and involves leaving behind the closet. Closets are hidden places. Closets are places that often do not see the daylight. And so as I reflect on coming out, when I first came out in 1985, and as I continually come out in my life, I think that it is an experience most often of leaving the closet behind. Secondly, coming out for me means rejecting the lie that being queer, being LGBTQ+, is somehow sinful or a sign of illness. We as queer people have been taught, and told rather, for so many years and decades and even centuries by religious leaders and others that being queer is something that is sinful or evil. And we know in our hearts that it is not. And then thirdly, coming out for me means being able to express myself as a loving and lovable human being.
Hi friends, my name is Carla. I'm the Latinx Roundtable Coordinator for CLGS at PSR. I grew up in Puerto Rico and I now live in New York City. I'm a GTU and CDSP grad in 2001. What does coming out mean to me today? It means to me to continue growing into who God already knows me to be. I love the image of God knowing me by name and being created in the image of God, the full breadth of what that is for me and for all of us. So a lifetime of discerning and growing into who God already knows me to be. That to me is coming out, living into how God knows me by name. And believing and knowing fully that I'm wonderfully and wondrously made, as it says in Psalm 139. I hope that you know that, friends, that you are wonderfully and wondrously made. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you, and I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1. I am glad to be part of, with you, the breadth of what it is to be made in the image of God.
I am the Reverend Dr. Roland Stringfellow, and my pronouns are he and him, and I am the coordinator of the African American Roundtable at the Center for LGBTQ and Gender Studies and Religion here at Pacific School of Religion. On this coming out day in 2022, as an out gay Black man, that means for me that I must be even more bold and courageous than I ever have been in the past. With our democracy crumbling around us and the threats to privacy, to choice, for me even driving while Black, and even having the threat of not being able to marry who I love. In these days of coming out, that means that we must not just simply focus on ourselves as individuals, but for us collectively. So coming out of the closet around your sexuality, your sexual orientation, your gender identity or expression, that is wonderful for the individual, but we need to think about how our lives impact one another, to care about our sisters and our brothers. This is an issue about integrity and truth-telling and building diversity. And this is what coming out means for all of us, no matter how you identify.
Hi, I'm Reverend Jacob Hero Shaw. I am a gay trans man, I am a husband, I am a father, and I'm a pastor. National Coming Out Day matters to me because when I think back to over 20 years ago when I first started transitioning, I didn't know anyone at all who was like me. In fact, I was told that because I'm a gay man, I wasn't even allowed to transition. And then I did these things that I was told I'm not allowed to do. I became a pastor, even though people said that queer people can't be pastors. And when I met my husband, marriage equality wasn't even legal yet. And here we are, married. Here I am, having legally adopted our kids, and here I am pastoring. What an amazing blessing. National Coming Out Day matters to me because I would have loved to have been able to know someone like me when I was first coming out, to know that I was valid and okay.
Good morning. My name is Mage Rumai. I use they, them, or he, him pronouns, and I currently work as the Roundtable Coordinator for the Asian American and Pacific Islander Roundtable at CLGS. Coming Out Day in 2022 for me means a continual process of growth and transformation into whatever and however and whyever I want to be who I want to be in this particular world, in a particular time, in this particular space, what that can look like in the past, in the present, and the future moving forward. Coming out for me is not just about gender and sexuality, but it is about a fuller and more robust understanding of who I am in relationship to myself, to the world around me, and to the communities that I exist in and am a part of.
I'm Rabbi Jane Rachel Littman, the coordinator of the Jewish Roundtable at the Center for LGBTQ and Gender Studies, CLGS, at the Pacific School of Religion. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you a meaningful Coming Out Day. Coming out is not an event, but a process by which we find our more authentic internal selves and make them visible externally. I support the people who've taken the risk and are courageous in coming out. And I also support the people who don't come out, who stay in the closet for need of safety. Safety is important. People should only come out if they feel they can do so safely. People come out due to sexual orientation, and there are other forms of coming out as well. People with hidden disabilities or neurodivergent people often need to come out in order to gain the accommodations to live a successful life. Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, and Hindus often have a process of coming out all through December when Christian normativity is taken for granted. People also come out in terms of race. People who have mixed heritages are often unseen in their whole being and must come out to show who they are. And lastly, people come out in terms of gender orientation, gender identity. People come out as trans, as non-binary, as genderqueer, as gender non-conforming, in order to be seen as their true selves.
So on this National Coming Out Day, I celebrate all of the people who make our community so wonderful, so beautiful, and so diverse. Thank you.
So on this Coming Out Day, I wish you a happy, prideful day to you and to yours.
Be well, friends. Happy Coming Out Day.
Coming out is wonderful, and it never stops, so keep going.
So today, National Coming Out Day, I salute everyone who has the courage and the ability to come out, and I also salute those of you who sit in the closet and wish for a future in which you will be able to come out. Thank you.
Again, happy Coming Out Day 2022.
Most holy God, creator and sustainer of all that is real and true, most loving God, whose image we bear and whose nature we share, life-giving God who speaks and breathes life into us, who desires that we live life and that more abundantly, the liberating God who frees us to wonder and to wander into open spaces and places where we discover lives that we never dared imagine. Most amazing God who does exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. Affirming God who affirms us as we are. True God who is spirit, ever present, but who shows up in different forms and is known by different names, but who always knows us. God of all people, of all nations and lands, the God of the immigrant and the indigenous, God of the disinherited and displaced, God of the marginalized and maligned, God of we who have survived and somehow thrived, God of those of us who are gentle and angry and loving.
Yes.
We come to you today with grateful hearts, grateful for all that you are and all that you created us to be, grateful for so great a cloud of witnesses. We come from all four directions, grateful for this day of celebrating the indigenous people of this land, grateful for this day of coming out, of coming into a place where we can enjoy your presence and the fellowship of others. Grateful for this day of coming out and coming home to a place of peace. Bless us and strengthen us this day and every day. Bless us to sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us, to sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. We face uncertain futures with faith, seeking justice, standing together, walking together, struggling together, shining our lights together, living together, loving together, praying together, and singing together for our lives. We offer this prayer in love. Amen. Ashe. Shalom.
Today's free will offering will be shared with the Bay Area American Indian Two Spirits Organization, Bates, and PSR's own Center for LGBTQ and Gender Studies and Religion. 70% of the monies we collect this morning will be given to Bates in the spirit of reparations for the land on which we do our work, and 30% to CLGS. You can use these handy envelopes that are on the lavender table back there. The Bay Area American Indian Two Spirits Organization exists to restore and recover the role of Two-Spirit people within the American Indian First Nations community by creating a forum for the spiritual, cultural, and artistic expression of Two-Spirit people. And CLGS, founded at PSR in 2000, has a mission to advance the well-being of lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, and transgender people, and to transform faith communities and the wider society by taking the leading role in shaping a new public discourse on religion, gender identity, and sexuality through education, research, community building, and advocacy. Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you so much for your generosity. If you were not prepared to share anything today, you can still give. You can go to the CLGS website. You can also go to the PSR website and designate it for this service, and we will make sure that the resources get to the intended recipients. Thank you so very much. So it's time now for the work of the people. We have some special guests in the house. We have lots of things coming up following this service. So Dean Abraham, would you come please and introduce our special guests?
Thank you, Ms. Ann. I do want to say, before I do that, thank you again for a wonderful service today, and also to Professor Schlager. But it is a pleasure and delight to welcome among us our postdoctoral fellow, probably for the next year. We are exploring Ms. Alexandra Rosado Roman, who is here with us. She will be presenting a talk this afternoon to which everyone is invited, and it's entitled Ethics of Betrayal Towards an Afro-Caribbean Feminist and Decolonial Turn. Welcome. Thank you. I also know that Professor Asadilio's parents are here. Would you like to introduce them?
This is Rebecca Asadilio and Doug Cunningham. PSR alum.
And we have PSR to thank for because they met here. So welcome to you all. Is there anybody else?
We have a lavender lunch at 12:30 today. You're welcome to take part in it here, and it's featuring Dr. Sylvia Rue and our own Reverend Dr. Roland Stringfellow speaking on reproductive justice and Black queer bodies. So that'll be online anywhere at 12:30 Pacific time today, or in this room.
We also want to alert you to the chapel celebration next week, which will be convened by the Theological Education for Leadership and Community Engaged Learning. Dr. Joyce Del Rosario will be here with us, and we will honor her work. And then the chapel service will be followed by a reception, a farewell reception for her. So look out for the Eventbrite link. We want to register you. We want to be here in strong numbers as we have been doing, and just really bless her on her way. And Reverend Tana Roseborough will be our preacher, who is the program coordinator for the Theological Education for Leadership program. So you don't want to miss it. Don't miss it. This time.
Just a quick announcement about the board meeting is this coming Sunday and Monday, begins at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Everybody on the community should have received the full docket, which is fairly extensive, but it gives you a chance to know what all we're up to. I want to call your attention particularly to our adaptive strategic plan. So we're in the process of strategic planning for the next 3 years, and so that tries to capture the vision of how we envision our work moving forward. And welcome your participation in that. The board meeting is open for the whole community to participate as guests. You can do that on Zoom, and the link is provided. There are sections that are closed just because they're either executive session or we're in small groups, and it's not easy to accommodate everyone, but please do encourage you to participate in that. I also want to invite you to pay attention to what's going on in the GTU and 2 significant anniversaries. This year is the 60th anniversary of the Graduate Theological Union, which is really quite significant. Most of you know, this is the consortium of seminaries, and initially we have come together, and then also a large number of centers now that represent the diversity of religious traditions of the world. And it's unique in many ways. While there are many consortiums around the world of theological schools, this is the largest consortium in the world. But we also are much more connected to each other, not just through cross-registration, but the sharing of a PhD program and faculty, as well as the library. So there's lots of events going on to celebrate that. Also, one of our member schools, formerly known as ABSW, now the Berkeley School of Theology, is celebrating their 150th anniversary this year as well. We are so young, you know?
Yes.
I would also like to announce that this coming Sunday at 3 o'clock, the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples, the The Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples, which is the nation's first interracial interfaith congregation, will be celebrating its 78th anniversary and the 26th annual Howard Thurman Convocation. This year's theme is Seeding Metamorphosis. The idea is that there are people in the past who've always been seeding growth, new birth. And we have video presentations from James Lawson, Reverend James Lawson, and Martin Luther King described as the most profound, prolific, most knowledgeable person and strategic person of nonviolence in the world. And we'll also have presentation video by Dr. Vincent Harding, who wrote the marvelous speech that we read last year, Beyond Vietnam, Moving the Time of Betrayal. So, and we'll have at least two young activists talking about their experiences, what they've learned from the past, what they're doing now, and how we're going forward. Again, that was the idea, to bring young activists and some of us older activists together and see how to go forward. Fabulous music by master drummer Pope Flynn from Ghana, who's extraordinary. My brother, who's also extraordinary pianist, and Bill Chris, extraordinary pianist and wonderful baritone. So, if you're free, please come by or contact us through Zoom, and it will be live streamed also. You can contact me for more information. Thank you so much.
So just before we have our benediction from Dean Abraham, it's time to stand as you're willing and able. Let's get rowdy, singing "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine."
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Everywhere I go,
everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. 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 Let it
Hear then this benediction. Words for us who love. It's entitled A Litany for Survival by Audre Lorde. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who are imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk. For by this weapon, this illusion of some safety is to be found. The heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard, nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive. Amen. Amen.
So go in peace, go in joy, go in colorfulness, be true to you. Please see the materials that are on the table back there. You can find out more information about CLGS, Barbara Cameron, and different, and the Bates organization as well. Thank you.